Hello everybody, and just here, and welcome back to Shangri-La Frontier Season 2, Episode 37, or whatever other count. I don't know, I kinda stopped tracking the episode number in Season 2, because everywhere I go it's numbered starting from Season 1, so whatever. Doesn't really matter in a grand scheme of things. Happy New Year! Merry Christmas, although Merry Christmas is kind of late, isn't it? But yeah, I didn't really have the time to record stuff or stream or do anything over the Christmas because going to family visiting, you know how it is during the Christmas season. But we're back, new season starting soon, so I'm probably gonna have a seasonal stream today or tomorrow at the latest. We'll see about that. But right now, Shangri-La. What happened in the previous episode? We have seen SFZoo fight like a gun. And that was basically the majority of the episode. SFZoo using some best in slot gear. I assume best in slot because many members of that guild were basically identically looking, right? So they were using identical gear, and the only reason to use identical gear is if it's best in slot. They don't have transmog in Shangri-La, do they? Yeah, seems like they don't have transmog. Huh. Interesting for a game that touts freedom of doing anything and stuff to not have transmog. Oh well. But not even best in slot gear was able to defeat like a gun, the Night Slayer. Yeah, the Night Slayer. Because even though the plan was sound, right? A bunch of tanks got the attention of like a gun, kept her in place. Meanwhile, a bunch of supporters cast a volley of crowd control spells that stopped like a gun in her tracks, and that allowed Animalia to approach, use one of her staffs or her main staff, I don't know really, and cast like super strong crowd control spell. That didn't quite work. We have learned a lot about Animalia and her backstory, though. She wanted to keep Lycagon in place, not to have an easy kill, and not even so much to get 100 crits in a row to get access to Rabituza, as she wanted to fluff it. Because, of course, because that's the entire purpose of SFZoo, to capture those creatures, to pet them, to fluff them, to document them, to see what they do, what texture is their fur, and stuff like that. And we know that this is mainly because, or solely even, because Animalia in real life has a severe allergy. She can't really have any pets, she can't really approach any pets, and so she makes up for it in Shangri-La, where pets don't have allergens. So she can pet them to her heart's content. And that's cool. That's a very heartwarming story, honestly. And I think it portrays really well how games serve as a form of escapism to many people, right? Precisely through things like that. I can't pet animals in real life, so I'm gonna pet animals in game, right? I can't afford a house in real life, so I'm gonna play The Sims, right? Things like that, essentially. But yeah, Animalia was defeated, unfortunately chomped down by Lycagon, because as it turns out, Lycagon is the night. Lycagon is the shadow. You can't really constrain it. You can constrain her physical form, but not Lycagon herself, because she is wherever there is shadow. She can immediately pop out of anybody's shadow, anything's shadow. She can descend from the night sky. You can't really contain her. And that led to basically the entirety of SFZoo getting wiped. After that happened, Sanaraku started thinking about what should he do. Should he fight like a gun? Should he not? That's a tough choice, because if he does fight like a gun, and he does defeat her, then perhaps the next step of Vorpal Epic unlocks. But Rei is with him, and Rei is a member of an allied, but at the same time kinda not enemy faction, but they are allies on paper, but they are still very much competing, and the entire purpose of Schwarzwolf is fighting like a gun, right? So revealing that stuff to Rei doesn't feel good, because we would lose our advantage as Wolfgang. Thankfully, Rei was with him. Thankfully, she was with him. She reminisced about how Sanraku helped her. What was it that he did exactly? No, it wasn't anything specific. It wasn't anything like lending her an umbrella or anything like that. He just ran past her, smiling and laughing. I have a frog in my throat for some reason today. And she fell for him at first sight. And he went to play some games. He went to buy... Was it Shangri-La? No, he went to buy some other game, some Ksoge, I think. Or maybe it was Shangri-La, I don't know. And then Rei went on to buy a game as well, and that's how she fell in love with gaming and how she fell in love with Sanraku. And she gave him an entire speech about how, I'm a member of the guild, but I don't really care about it that much. I play games to have fun, etc., etc. And that reminded Sanraku of why he plays games. He plays them to have fun. Not to play politics, right? To play politics between guilds, to stop himself from having fun because, maybe that guild will get something on us. No, he plays games to have fun. Fighting like a gun would be fun. It would be a challenge, but it would be fun. So the decision is simple. We go and fight like a gun. We deal with whatever happens when it happens. Simple, really. And he has Rei to thank for reminding him about that. And so the episode ended with both of them slowly walking towards like a gun. And fighting. I mean, they didn't start fighting, but I assume today's episode is just gonna be a fight with like a gun. That's basically my entire expectation regarding what's gonna happen in this episode. I heard that the next week there is a break in Shangri-La. Maybe they're gonna release like a summary episode or something like that, or maybe nothing at all, and then we're gonna get a new opening. So I assume that the fight is gonna get concluded in this episode. I don't think they would blue ball us for 2 weeks if the fight did not conclude today. So hopefully the fight concludes, and that's gonna make for a good half season ending, and then we can start the next half season, the next core, right, with after Lycagon has been defeated, after Sanraku got a power up or whatever, and he is powered up in the new opening, or I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, but something like that might happen. I don't know. How about we just watch this episode and see for ourselves, right? Shall we do it? Yes, we shall. And to do that, you're gonna need your subs, of course, to follow along with me. I'm gonna need my sound to hear what's going on in the show. And I'm gonna have to ask you for support. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon or YouTube down below, or not. Share my content, spread the word. It costs absolutely nothing and helps the channel a lot. And with all of that out of the way, that's gonna be... What? No, we're not ending the episode yet. What was I? Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon, YouTube down below, or not. Share my content, spread the word, costs nothing and helps a lot. And with that, we can start watching episode 37 of Shangri-La Frontier in 3, 2, 1, go. I haven't recorded in a while, so I just kinda lost track of what my opening and my ending are. Happens. Okay, so we're getting a little bit of a different summary. And a bit of last time on Shangri-La Frontier. And opening, sure. I wonder what's there to watch in the new season. I'm gonna have to figure out like 2 days that I will be without a PC because I have a bunch of parts and those parts need installing, like a whole motherboard, CPU, RAM, and everything. And I'm gonna have to give it to some PC service or whatever for like a day. So that's gonna be hard figuring out that, couple of days where there's nothing coming out. Or, I mean, I could be late with an episode of something, sure. But it's premieres of all the shows, right? So viewership would be less if I were like 3 days late to a premiere of some show. I don't know, maybe. I could probably swap those parts myself, but if I do that and I fuck something up, then, well, that's on me, and I'm gonna have to buy a new motherboard or whatever. If someone else fucks up, well, they're gonna have to reimburse me. Embrace the lamplight of ambition, part 2, right. I'm assuming the key to defeating Lycagon is light. But I don't know if they have any, like, light spells or light abilities between them. Well, Ray's abilities are quite flashy, so that might count. Ray has this, like, double form to her, right? Her white armor with dark sword and her dark armor with light sword, I believe. Perhaps light sword would be more effective against Lycagon. Yeah, he knows the moves. Hmm. So not like use special abilities or whatever. Okay, just a basic physical attack. That's dodgeable, that's blockable, that's parryable probably as well. Yeah. And your own shadow probably as well. Yeah, but that move had a good bit of tell. Not sure if you can dodge that though, so. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, if it gets dark, Lycagon grows stronger. Means it would probably be the easiest to fight her during full moon, right? That's cool skill. Did it do anything though? Made her stagger. Fists? Fists. Oh, right, he has some sort of ranged attack on those gauntlets, right? With the crystal launcher. What about the doubles, though? Oh. Yeah. Is that a clone, though? Yeah, the real Lycagon has the markings on the face. Clones don't have it. The ability, Oh, Inventoria? Sure. I thought that maybe the additional vitality from his belt allowed him to survive it. But no, of course, he could just pop into Inventoria and pop back out. It's kind of obvious, actually, that she would be able to do that, yeah. Right. What else is she hiding? She was not going all out. Yeah? You are the real threat here. Oh. Interesting. Someone's playing like a gun. What should be the case? The developers of Shangri-La play the Colossi. They're not AI, they are actual humans. That's why they can listen in on player conversations, right? Employ advanced tactics and whatnot. Yeah. Ugh. There it is. Is it gonna fall? Yeah, it's gonna fall for it. Colossi are played by developers. Okay, so it is susceptible to taunt. Ray should probably have some taunt abilities. Oh. Curious. Yeah, but you gotta ensure that Lycagon doesn't dodge. Okay, so it's like what? Once a fight, once a day skill? Maybe something like a glass cannon attack where she loses 90% of her vitality or something, but deals massive damage. Gonna pin her or something with that crystal? Probably not. Ergetlam. Okay. It's a uh, one of the weapon. Was Ergetlam not Maria's weapon from Symphogear? I think it was. Ergetlam in general is from Celtic mythology, I believe. Silver hand that one of their deities had, something like that. Hmm. Well, seems simple enough. Satanel! Oh! What a name! Right, we know that she has reversal. Yeah. White sword and Momonga armor. Hello, Momonga-sama. How's Nazarik doing? No, sorry, not Momonga. Momon. The adventurer Momon. Right, just gotta juggle aggro. Let Ray recover. Mm-hmm. Oh. Oh, another nice crit. Yeah, the big blast that took down Animalia. Well, that's not very accessible of you, Shangri-La. Requiring hearing to figure out a skill. Yeah. There it is. Inventoria? Yeah. Yeah, it's up his MP, so we can't really use it a lot. Right. He doesn't have like resurrection items or mana potions and stuff. Maybe. That's not a bad idea, is it? That's where he gets the helmet from the OP, right? But not enough. Right, still gotta chug potions. Didn't show his face. He's wearing the Kamen Rider helmet, isn't he? Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, but he can equip sash and headgear at least. Oh! Oh, that's cool. So, with just the headpiece alone, he can summon a mecha robot summon thing. I was under the impression that you need the whole suit of armor and then you transform into this thing. Do you really need the entire name every time? Just call it Tactical Avian. Attack. Yeah, good question. Hmm. Do players who get access to sci-fi gear not go back to lower level areas? Or did nobody reach that yet? Okay, 2 out of 5. Still gotta land for apocalypses. Instructions too complex. Yeah, it had to compile the instruction set. Is it gonna like seed clouds for rain? Or is it gonna disperse the clouds? It's probably gonna disperse the clouds, isn't it? Ooh, nice music. Thank you for explaining what recast time is. I had no fucking clue. Uh, ooh, missed that. Or did he? Right, he can grow those crystals. But what's the purpose behind it? Okay, to slam it into Lycagon, right? Yeah, okay. Makes sense. Suzaku, your time to shine. Or is Suzaku gonna like shine a spotlight from the sky or something? Yeah, okay. Gonna disperse the clouds. He's playing the role of Rainbow Dash. clearing the sky in 4 seconds flat. Yeah. Dodgeable, parryable. Like everyone has something else in store, doesn't she? Or maybe not. We don't see her health bar. Three out of 5. Yeah, it can retaliate. You should probably go for decoy, apocalypse, decoy, apocalypse, right? Some stalling tactics. And holy shit, they are gonna blue ball us for 2 weeks, aren't they? Fucking hell. Or maybe not. I see that the next episode is in 3 days. So wait, is it taking a break? Is it not? I thought it is. But maybe not. I mean, I would be perfectly fine if it didn't take a break. Okay, maybe they are not taking a break after all. I have no clue. We'll see. Couple of days. Oh. What are those sounds? Oh? You know Sanraku? Are you Dragonfly from the fighting game by chance? Huh. Maybe. She knows Sanraku as Sanraku, meaning she knows him from some game. Interesting. Interesting. The plot thickens. Okay. Let's watch it again, shall we? Willing to bet that Akitsu Akane is gonna save the day. She's gonna jump in the middle of the fight and like block like Gon's attack or something. We'll see. We'll see about that. Initially, I was under the impression of, oh no, they're doing the intro again. Fucking hell, why would you do that? But no, it's changed a little bit, right? They explained the Colossi. Cool. We didn't know what they are, after all, right? Yeah, a bit of last time on Shangri-La Frontier. OP, 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 OP. Embrace the lamplight of ambition. Still have no clue what it means in relation to what happened in those 2 episodes, but sure. Yeah, this entire episode was basically just the fight. Yeah, Sanraku understands the moveset, and if he understands the moveset, he can counteract it. Of course. And the race attacks. At least her first attack didn't seem that strong. Yeah, it did basically nothing. But then the Apocalypse? Apocalypse, yeah. She has Apocalypse in her white form and Cataclysm? Catastrophe in her dark form, I think. Right? Yeah, Apocalypse and Catastrophe. Gilta Brill. Yeah, Lycagon's still hiding some aces up her sleeve. Interesting. She was putting up a smoke screen for us from the moment the fight started. She's known what we are saying. Interesting. That's not usually how you would design a fight. Like even the strongest boss in a game, right? Usually fights are self-contained within the context of a fight, not within the context of who's outside of the arena. That's how generally it's programmed, because people who fight should count for a fight. And a dude randomly going past the world boss to gather some herbs should not count for the enemy scaling or whatever, right? This is interesting, and it really makes me think that there might actually be a player behind Lycagon. A player as in one of the developers, probably. Reminds me of Warframe, where... Was it an event or was it just a stream? Can't remember. Yeah, I can't remember, but one of the developers also played like a mini boss that appears during a mission and was invading players' games, and players can't play that mini boss. Well, they couldn't back then, but right, that was cool, and makes me think it might be something similar going on here, because. I mean, sure, you could potentially program the AI to that degree. We know that AI in Shangri-La is basically indistinguishable from an actual consciousness, right? We know it from Emul, we know it from other NPCs, so entirely possible that a boss would be using those same, I don't know, components to the AI, like listening and watching and stuff. Still, though, it is susceptible to skill mechanics. If it sees a taunt, it gets taunted. Which... I wonder how that works in PvP, for example. Right? Say Sanraku uses this skill in PvP. Does his opponent have to attack this thing specifically? Or does it work like the opponent can only deal damage to the decoy and deals 0 damage to Sanraku as long as the decoy is up? Or what's exactly the mechanic here? Or can the opponent just ignore it and attack Sanraku directly? Because if the latter is possible, then it would mean Lycagon is not played by someone, not controlled by someone, but rather an actual AI. I don't know. It's interesting. It's certainly interesting. Ultimate. Attack skill with the most instantaneous firepower in all of Shangri-La. She really is Momon the Adventurer, isn't she? All that she's missing is a second double-handed sword and a hamster mount, and that's just gonna be gender-bent Momonga. Momon, sorry. Momonga is a caster. Ergetlam grants bonus to damage based on luck stat when a crit is landed, and Sanraku has a lot of luck. I'm gonna look up Ergetlam right quick. Nuada Ergetlam. Yeah, the first king of the Tuatha De Danann, also called the Nektan, Nuadu, Nekt, and Elkmar, husband of Boan. And he had a silver hand, and thus, you know, Erget Lam, silver hand, I think. And in Symphogear, indeed, it was a relic used by Serena and Maria Kadenzavna Eve. Although in Symphogear it was severed arm of Enki, the Mesopotamian god of wisdom, which I guess, looking at Symphogear's world building, could very well made it to Ireland and have been gifted or procured by Nuada or something. Symphogear is crazy. Watch it. Go and watch it. It's a great show. And it's completed. So, hey, no cliffhangers. Hits with Apocalypse and Catastrophe 5 times each. And then she probably gets like a combined attack, right? Both light and dark attribute or something like that, probably. Unique skill, Satanel. The Satan form. Of course, it wouldn't be, it wouldn't be a Japanese game if you couldn't become fucking Satan. If you didn't end up fighting God at some point. They are gonna fight God eventually, aren't they? They absolutely are. They're gonna fight all of the Colossi, and then they're gonna fight God. Calling it now. After defeating the Colossi, they fight God. It's not going to be a Japanese game without a fight with God. Catastrophe. Yeah. Long charge up, draw lots of aggro. I mean, perfect skills for a tank, really. She can withstand whatever attacks are dealt to her while she charges up because she's a tank. And the attack draws a lot of aggro, which is the role of a tank in a team. Problem is they don't have a healer. And tanks kinda need healers for sustain. So, that's gonna be problematic. The moon is out. And yeah, sound being the only cue, which, as I said, not very accessible, right? If someone's deaf or hard of hearing, they're not gonna hear that subtle cue, ergo they're not gonna be able to defeat Lycagon. That's why usually games use multiple cues for everything. Sound and a particle effect, for example, or sound and a marker on a minimap, or stuff like that. So that even if you are deaf, you can still see the particles, for example. Minecraft does the live captions, where it's shown in the corner footsteps to the left, or lava bubbling up front, or whatever, so that even if you play on mute or you can't hear it, you can still read and get some sort of orientation when it comes to the soundscape. Accessibility in games is a very interesting topic. I'm reminded of, again, Warframe, of all games, where they redid doors and lockers at some point, because doors and lockers used to have a light in the middle that would be green if they're open and red if they're closed. But if someone has some form of color blindness, they would not be able to tell between them. So that's the coolest thing. Instead of implementing some sort of poor man's color blindness mode that just shifts some hues around, they don't really work all that well. They just changed the pattern, right? The pattern of lights on an open door is like something like this, and it glows green, and the pattern of lights on a closed door is different, and it shines red, so that even if your vision is entirely monochrome, you can still tell which door is open and which is closed. that's it. That is a cool way to solve it. And I really, really like that tidbit. So yeah, Shangri-La, not the most accessible, it seems. But yeah, not easy to hear those cues when you're in the middle of a fight, is it? With rubble falling all around and whatnot. Yeah, I was under the impression that those beasts or whatever are either mounts you unlock, or they are something you can morph into when you wear the armor, but they seem to just be pets. I mean, maybe they can be used as mounts, I don't know that. But yeah, somehow I thought they are a little bit more tied to the armor than this. Potion of who knows what, 1, high potion 2, highest potion 2, Magi potion 1, high Magi potion 2. That's not a lot. If you play games that have healing potions and you don't have like 3 stacks of 99 in your inventory at any given time, you're playing the game wrong. Let's be honest here. And what exactly happened here? Yeah, okay. What's going on here? Sanako just randomly pulled out a bird Teru Teru Bozu, threw it to one side, it disappeared, then he pulled out another and threw it to the other side, and then it disappeared again? Is it like an emote that he's playing? I don't know. Initially, I thought that maybe he threw this magical whatever unit and it just started hovering in front of the suit. But no, apparently it was already here and hovering? I don't know, it's a weird scene. Kind of hard to follow. And yeah, he has the helmet because that's the only thing he can equip. And that is apparently enough to summon the bird. Non-standard tactical avian Suzaku. Cool. Which begs the question, could he have also equipped a sash of that armor, for example? Or like a belt or something, because we know that he can equip it, so I don't know. Also, interesting question, how strong is this helmet alone exactly? Like, this is the top tier gear in the game, I assume. So presumably this helmet alone should have as high stats as a whole suit of armor of lesser quality. I wonder. We don't really see stats of this helmet, do we? Non-standard tactical avian Suzaku. Non-standard specialized armor Adaban's head equipment. It'll let me give orders to the non-standard tactical avian Suzaku, thanks to my non-standard equipment Adabaran helmet. Please don't say the entire fucking name. Nobody does that. It's the thing that really takes me out whenever I watch some sort of a game trailer, right? Like, they talk like, oh, I finally found the Dark Wolf of Darkness Wolf mount. So cool, I always wanted the Dark Wolf of Darkness Wolf mount. Right? Meanwhile, any sane person would just say the Dark Wolf or whatever, or they would give it a nickname, like someone would make a meme on Reddit calling that mount Bob, so every player would just start calling it Bob. Like, that's how it works in games and in game communities. Nobody, fucking nobody would call it non-standard tactical avian. They might be able to, they might call it like NST or NSTA or I don't know, whatever. Right, but never non-standard tactical avian Suzaku. Nobody would call it that. Never seen anything like it. That begs an interesting question. We know for a fact that Shangri-La has elements of sci-fi in it. That was already stated in like the very first episode, if not the first couple of episodes, right? That Shangri-La has everything, including the sci-fi stuff. Meaning that players should be able to procure like guns and tactical armor and stuff like that. But Rei has never seen anything like it. Meaning she probably has never seen anything like sci-fi in Shangri-La. Why? One explanation is that once there's like a point of no return kind of thing, where you go to the sci-fi portion of the game and you are thrown into a separate instance of the world, for example. Or you can no longer go back to the starting zones. Or there is some sort of a story where the starting zones get destroyed by some sort of calamity, and that's why you can't go back, you have to keep playing in the sci-fi zones or something like that. But I don't think a game that touts so much player freedom would do anything like it. Alternate instance. That could work, right? Because it doesn't block players, the sci-fi players, let's call them. It doesn't stop them from going back to the original zones, but it stops them from being seen by players who have not reached that point yet. If somebody reached that point, though, they would be posting about it on the internet. Question is, did Rei browse the internet enough to find that info? I don't know. But I'm kind of reminded again of Warframe. There's a quest in Warframe that is like kind of pivotal, right? And it gives you access to a thing. I'm just gonna call it a thing that is a big spoiler, and you can use it during missions. And it was kind of a big thing when that quest came out, because there would be new players running around and shooting their weak guns and having fun collecting 5 of each resource and whatnot. And then there would be like decked out, maxed out player just completely pummeling everything around and using that spoiler thing. The developers eventually, I think, made it so that the thing looks very generic, so that you can't really fully properly tell what it is, and there's an explanation that you could give to the players that, oh, I just used the gear item or whatever. But I think eventually they just kind of threw that idea away, and now the thing shows up in full glory. And I don't know how much does it confuse the new players, but it is what it is. I mean, they made the genius decision to create a second starting experience for a new player, which was completely fucking stupid, because to get context for they released an update with a quest and like a new zone and stuff where you were using the spoiler thing, let's just say, primarily. And it makes sense after you go through a chain of like 7 other quests that kind of contextualize what exactly is going on, what exactly is happening, who the fuck are those people, etc., etc. And they decided to give it to players as an alternate starting experience. So you can start from a tutorial that has you use a warframe and go through the paces and learn what is shooting, what is melee, etc. Or you can start as the spoiler thing with zero fucking context for what's going on. Thankfully, they later locked that thing beyond some quest progression, but not quite late enough, and it's just a fucking mess. It's just a mess. But yeah, rant about Warframe over. Let's continue. 5 times with Apocalypse and Catastrophe. Thank you for reminding us that. But yeah, Lycagon's not gonna just stay silent What's the matter? Yeah, that's a good question. Again, my thoughts go in the direction of someone sitting behind a computer at Shangri-La headquarters had to parse exactly what Sanaku said and had to input the commands into the whatever Suzaku, right? Or maybe they were waiting for someone at Shangri-La HQ had a notification pop up on their PC that the player is requesting Suzaku to activate and open Shangri-La to control Suzaku or something like that. Maybe, I don't know. But my thoughts do go in that direction. I don't know how accurate and how correct it is, but still. Recast time, yeah, thank you for the explanation. Firing up and then growing up. Yeah, so he grew the crystal so it smacked like a gun. Gotcha. That's what happened. Makes sense, actually. And head is the weak point. Good to know. Oh, Hizutome-kun, with you, I feel like I could conquer the world. Yeah. Unfortunately, Lycagon seems to be learning. Right? They are learning about Lycagon's patterns, but Lycagon is learning about their patterns as well. So, it's not gonna be an easy fight. It's really not gonna be an easy fight. And then we have this. Emul and Sikru running with Akitsu Akane, who apparently knows Sanraku. I am going to check something. Akitsu Akane. There we go. She's from Shangri-La Frontier, 2nd season, and is voiced by Yuka Terasaki. Meanwhile, in Shangri-La Frontier, the 1st season... where is she? Again, Yuka Terasaki. Dragonfly is voiced by Yuka Terasaki. Spot fucking on! It's Dragonfly, isn't it? It's absolutely Dragonfly. Unless they reuse the voice actor, which, I mean, it's not unheard of. Entirely possible that Dragonfly was just an episodic character, but she's Dragonfly. She's absolutely Dragonfly. I'm betting she is. Do I have it? I mean, yeah, I'm gonna note it down. That's gonna be a very cheap and very certain green highlight. So why not? Akitsu Akane is Dragonfly. Yeah. There we go. Okay. Cool. Cool. Ugh, sorry. Smacked the mic. So, that was episode 37 of Shangri-La, and it was fun. I mean, it was mostly a fight, so there wasn't that much to talk about, and the video is already reaching an hour, so apparently there was something to talk about. But yeah, it was mostly just a fight, but it was a cool fight, with some cool things, with some imaginative use of their abilities. I always enjoy that in anime combat, in any sort of combat really. Imagination, right? A character throwing a fireball, sure, okay, they can throw a fireball, that's kind of cool, I guess. A character throwing a weak but large fireball so that it burns out oxygen from around an enemy so that they suffocate to death. Now that's cinema, that's kino, that's good writing, right? I really, really like imaginative use of existing abilities that maybe goes contrary to the intended use of them, or creates like completely new opportunities, stuff like that, right? I'm always, always a huge fan. So I love how Sanraku uses the crystal and the grow up first to use it as a way of boosting himself, right, in the fight with the trash pile. Now to use the expansion to smack like a gun in the face. I love how he uses Inventoria defensively. I love how he used the summon, right, the Suzaku, not to fight with them, not to provide support or anything, but to disperse the clouds, right? That's really cool. I like it. I really, really do enjoy that aspect of Shangri-La. How creative Sanraku is in using his abilities and finding all sorts of interactions between them and alternative uses and stuff like that. It's great. It's great. I love that Sanraku and Rei are much more chill now, right? Rei no longer acts awestruck at all times. Sanraku doesn't act all scared and tense around her. Some of that combat together facing the same enemy, that's gonna level up the relationship to the next level, that of acquaintances. uh, Rei is certainly gonna have to learn a little bit more of that imagination from Sanraku, because so far her repertoire is just hit, strong hit, strong hit, hit, transformation, hit, strong hit, strong hit, right? Now, she probably doesn't have all that much in her repertoire, I'd imagine. There's only so many different abilities you can give to a tank with a 200, but still. But still. Yeah. Also, I actually like the helmet that Sanraku is wearing. That's actually something cool. I still like the bird mask the most, but this helmet is also cool. Also looks vaguely avian and hides his face. That's the most important thing, because Sanraku showing his face, that's the uncanny thing. That's super uncanny when he shows like his mouth and his upper part is. Ugh, I shudder at the thought. So this helmet, perfectly fine. I still wonder what's gonna be the role of Shangri-La developers. They are listed on the list of characters. We have Ritsu Amachi, we have Sakai Tsukuyogi. Them two, at least. Don't recognize anybody else, at least. But yeah, they're gonna have to appear at some point. Maybe it's just gonna be another funny haha scene where they're like, oh, holy shit, he managed to defeat Lycagon. Well, that's supposed to be the final Colossus. Who the fuck is this Sanraku player? Right? Maybe they're just gonna appear for that scene, which, I mean, I wouldn't mind. But I'm still looking for some, I don't know, deep conspiracy of some sort. Perhaps a silly conspiracy, like the AI isn't actually all that advanced. Every NPC is actually controlled by a Pakistani worker who's paid a bowl of rice an hour or whatever, like a, I don't know, Amazon Mechanical Turk or whatever kind of bullshit like that, right? I don't think there is something like, I don't know, this being an experiment or whatever. I don't think there's anything dark hiding behind the scenes. But I really have to wonder. Anime that focus on the world being a game and the game being controlled by some corporation, really doesn't make me trust the corporations, right? Pretty much in every anime like that, the corporation is evil and they're doing some sort of consciousness transfer experiment or a social experiment, or they're secretly using players to control war platforms in the Middle East or whatever kind of bullshit like that, right? I don't think it's gonna be the case in Shangri-La, but my mind just can't stray away from that thinking. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that belief gets validated or invalidated, most likely. But yeah, right now I think that's gonna be it from me for today, but maybe you guys have something more to add on the topic of this episode, my reaction, my theories, stuff like that. If you do, say some in the comments down below. What did you think of this episode, my reaction, my theories, stuff like that? Already said that. No spoilers, please. Spoilers can go to my Discord if you'd like. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to be notified of future videos. Not only Shangri-La Frontier, but also many others coming in the future, coming in the next season. Click the bell to be notified of when I go live with the seasonal streams and other streams, because I do stream sometimes. And when those videos go up, of course, you also get a notification. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon or YouTube down below, or not. Share my content, spread the word. It costs absolutely nothing and helps the channel a lot. And now with all of that out of the way, that's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers! And here's my wonderful Patreons: QB, Rainer, Dr. Watt, Akaman, Marsh, Fassel, and Hans Peter. And you can join them if you want without having to fight like a gun. Simple.